everyone, my name is Liam and welcome to Liam's only 58 board games of all time. We are into the top 20, only 20 to go, so let's get into it. The first one is, so number 20 is Dominion. Dominion is a game that I believe my sister picked off the shelf for me for a birthday or a Christmas one year, and we enjoyed it. I believe it's actually my mother's favourite game that we have. I think it would be up near her top 5 or even her top. She says it's a favourite. Dominion is probably the classic or the most well-known deck building game. You have different decks and you spend money to buy cards from the decks, and the cards have different actions on them. You shuffle them into your deck, you play them, you get more money, you get more cards, you shuffle them into the deck, you play them, you get more money, you get more cards, and eventually you build up enough ability to be able to buy the cards that have the most points on them, and whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. As I say, the probably quintessential deck building game out there, and it's enjoyable. There's lots of expansions out there. We only have one expansion. But there's just lots of replayability in randomizing what decks are in the game, because you only have 10 different of the action cards in the game, even though there's more of them. So there's different combinations you can play, so there's lots of replayability with having a different game every time. And it's just short, sharp, and it's good. So number 20 is Dominion. Okay, so number 19 is another legacy game that I don't own. A friend of mine owned this one that we played through. Which is Betrayal Legacy. So I mentioned just in the last video, Betrayal House on the Hill. We also did Betrayal Legacy, and we did the whole thing. So that's a good sign. If you get all the way through a legacy game, that's a good sign. It took us a while, because it's hard for us to get everyone in the same house together. But yeah, it was a good time. My negative about Betrayal Legacy is that I don't think that the legacy elements of it mattered. Depending on how, so if you don't know how legacy games work, the rules change as you go. So depending on how you play in one game will affect the next game, because the board or the rules will change. In Betrayal Legacy, I feel like that only really mattered with what cards you had left, or what you might have altered the effect of a certain room tile, so that tile might have become dangerous or something. I can't really remember. Or it would affect what haunt you would do for the next scenario or the next game. So I feel like the only legacy element was that it affected what items and stuff you found. I don't think there was actual legacy element in changing the rules, and every time you reset for a new game, it didn't really feel like you were doing anything differently. It was just a different part of the story. So we had a good time. We got through the whole thing. Some people died often. Some people died first often. So you come up with little in-jokes of stories of how the game progresses over the legacy. But in terms of a legacy game, I just don't think the actual legacy changed the game that much to make it that much different from just playing Betrayal House on the Hill. So that's why it's lower compared to some other legacy games that are coming up. So number 19 is Betrayal Legacy. Alright, number 18 is the game that started this whole new era of board games for me, and that is obviously Catan. We have the old version, Settlers of Catan. As I say, there are so many better games out there now that I've played, but we still play Catan often. Like, it's an easy game to pull out. It's likely that there'll be people that know how to play it, even if they haven't played many other board games. It's easy to teach. It's actually relatively quick. When we first got it, we thought it was a long and hard game, but no, you can play a game in 45 minutes. I don't think I really need to explain how Catan works. But basically, hexagons, resource production, build roads, build houses, settlements and cities, and whoever gets to 10 points wins. We have an expansion for it. We don't have all the expansions for it. It's up this high on the list. It gets a 10 out of 10 for nostalgia value. It is the game that started this whole new era of board gaming for me. It is the game that finally got my mother into board games. Before that, my grandmother would very politely play with me and my sister. Pictionary, Game of Life, that sort of stuff. But they were too boring for my mother. This game finally got her into board gaming, as well as Pandemic and Ticket to Ride. So this was the one. So 10 out of 10 for nostalgia and meaning. We still play it fairly often. It still gets very competitive when we do play it. But mechanically, 6 out of 10 game. There is a lot of dice rolls and randomness in it. So yeah, 18 is Catan. 17 is another classic, but it was a classic for us quite recently. Carcassonne. So we know that Carcassonne has been a big game since what? I think 2000 or something it came out. At least the first edition. There's a newer edition compared to this. I don't know what edition this is. Doesn't say. It will say somewhere. Carcassonne, you take turns laying down a tile. A square tile. There'll be on the tile there might be a bit of a city, a bit of a road, a bit of a field, or a monastery, and you put it down. You have to connect it to the existing tiles in a way that works. You have to connect a road to a road, or a field to a field, or a city to a city. And then you put workers down to score points. You can score points from the cities, the roads, the fields, the monasteries. And whenever there's no more tiles left, you do final scores, and whoever's got the most point wins. As I say, it's a classic in the world of board gaming. It's only a recent-ish game for us. I think we got it about 2 years ago. Yeah, I think I got it about 2 years ago. So enjoy it. I play it on BGA a lot as well because it's short and sharp and snappy. We pull it out every so often for real to play it for real. And yeah, it's enjoyable. Number 17 is Carcassonne. Alright, number 16 might have a little bit of recency bias to it, just because it was one of the more recent games we picked up a couple of months ago, and that is The Search for Planet X. I don't know if recency bias is changing where it would be on the actual rankings of all this. It is a really good game. It's the type of game that we enjoy as a family. It's a puzzle. You're finding Planet X based off different logic rules. There's a circular board. You survey for asteroids and gas clouds, and there are different logic rules. So 2 asteroids have to be next to each other. A dwarf planet won't ever be next to Planet X. And basically, you bit by bit deduce where Planet X has to be based off ruling various things out. And it's a race to solve the puzzle the fastest. And get there first, and also score different points along the way. It's a fun puzzle. It makes you think. It's a logic puzzle, so it's good to have some of those. Again, not sure if recency bias is affecting where it would be on the list, but here it is at what did I say? 16, number 16 of Liam's only board games of all time. The Search for Planet X. And there's also a new one out about looking for a lost species, so we'll probably pick that one up at some point, I think. Alright, 15 might cause some controversy, because as far as I understand, it doesn't get a good rap on the internet, so we'll see how we go. Seafall. Seafall is a game that was designed from the ground up as a legacy game from the guy Rob Davio. So Rob Davio, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Designed Pandemic Legacy, Risk Legacy, most of the legacies. And he designed this one ground up as a legacy game. So it wasn't based off another game. He designed it as a legacy game. You are a captain of a ship, or 2 ships, of your nation. And you're tasked by the leader of your nation to go out and explore the islands and find treasures and uncover things and plunder and loot and all that sort of thing. I really, really like the theme. The box is cool. Going out and plundering islands and getting treasure and everything. I really, really like the theme. Mechanically, it's very, very interesting. You spend resources, you upgrade your ship along the way, you put stickers on the board like a good old classic legacy game. The further you sail out into the ocean, you uncover more and more islands. We haven't finished it. Part of the reason it's high up on this list is because I do want to finish it at some point. I know a lot of the criticism that it gets online is that it doesn't end well, or it gets boring, or that the ending is unsatisfying, or something like that. I don't care. I still want to play it at some point. I enjoy it. You don't have to listen to other people's opinions on the internet. If you enjoy something and they don't, who cares? We enjoy it. Seafall is 15. Alright, number 14 is a game I've only ever played on BGA, and for a game to only be played on BGA and be number 14 of my list, it's pretty good. It is Tapestry. Tapestry from Stonemaier Games. And Tapestry is a civilization building Euro-y type game. You have a map. Or your civilization starts on the map, and you can uncover tiles to expand the map and expand your civilization. But the main game is these 4 different tracks. You have a science track, an exploration track, technology track, and a military track. And the game is every time you choose an action on one of these tracks, you advance up the track. So if I do a military action, I advance up the military action. The actions get better and better, but they get more expensive to do. So at the start of every track, you only have to pay a resource to do one of the actions. But as you get up, you might have to pay 3 resources to do an action. So it's a strategy in terms of, okay, which tracks do I focus on based off what I've got, what cards I've got in my hands. You have tapestry cards that affect the game as well. You each have a unique civilization with asymmetric rules, so your civilization have these special powers. Some of them are better than others, so it's not quite balanced in terms of every civ. You put buildings onto another little map, and you get resources by filling that out. So there's lots of different things that you're doing, different strategies that you can focus on. At the end of the game, I haven't quite worked out which strategy is the best. Sometimes you play a game and you're like, oh, going up the technology track is obviously the way to win. And then the next game you try that and someone's won by going up the military track the best. So there's different ways of winning. Like it's not balanced, but it's balanced in terms of there's lots of different ways to win. It's just fun. It's good. I like it. It's the type of game that I like. So Tapestry is number 14 on my only games of all time, and I don't own it or have never played it for real. Number 13 is a game that you play with dominoes. Not the pizza, the tiles, dominoes. It's called Chicken Foot or Mexican Train. I believe it's interchangeable. Mexican Train, Chicken Foot, same game. You play with dominoes. Depending how many people you play with, you have your dominoes. The job is to get rid of all your dominoes by connecting the numbers to each end properly. If you have one with a double on it, so a tile that has a double on it, so 2 7s or 2 6s, you say chicken foot, and you put that down, and everyone has to put the next 3 tiles that go down have to be one of those numbers. So if you put down a chicken foot of 6, the next 3 tiles that go down have to have a 6 on them. So you branch out and make the chicken foot bigger. It's just it's a basic game with dominoes, but boy, do we get competitive! Like we get so competitive at it. And doing a full game, you do a lot, 13 different rounds to do a full game, and that takes about 3 hours. But man, it's competitive. For some reason, it's addictive. I don't know why. It just is. Chicken Foot is my number 13 game of all time. All right, number 12 is a legacy game, Pandemic Legacy Season 2. I can't show it to you because I don't know where it is. Maybe we threw it out. I don't know. I just can't find it. Season 2 is known to be the worst of the 3 Pandemic Legacies, which I can see why. You start with only some of the board visible. As the game goes on, you put more and more, you stick more and more of the board on the board, so the world gets bigger. It kind of backflips Pandemic. Normal Pandemic, you're racing to cure the disease, and in this one, you're racing in normal Pandemic, you're racing to take cubes off the board. In this one, you're racing to put cubes on the board and keep them on the board. I think. I can't remember. It's been a while since I did it. We played through the whole thing. It's just as fun the second time to open the boxes, peel the stickers, reveal what new rules are in the game. That always brings excitement and enjoy to do that. But it was just the second time round. By the time we got to the final game, and revealed the final win condition, we realized, oh, well, we can't really achieve that. We're too much up shit's creek. We had to get from China to Africa or something, or Africa to China, and there just wasn't enough turns left to do it. So we couldn't get the overall win, unfortunately. But yeah, it's these. I can see why it's the least favoured of the 3 seasons. But we still played through it all. It was still a memorable experience for us. So Pandemic Legacy Season 2 is number 12. Alright, number 11. And I feel bad for putting this in number 11. I don't know why. It's just when I did my little ranking calculations of meaning, excitement, how good of a game it is, this is where it ended up. So sorry to Wingspan for being number 11. I feel like you should be higher, but there you are. Number 11 is Wingspan. Obviously, one of the most popular games in the world right now. Fantastic game. And it scored highly in all categories. I gave it an 8 out of 10 for meaning. I gave it an 8 out of 10 for joy to play. I gave it an 8 out of 10 for how good of a game I think it is. So it's an 8 out of 10 all around. Probably the reason it's only 11 is just because we play it a lot, and in this way it's hurt that. It's hurt its score because we played a lot. It was our most played game in 2023, I think, according to BG Stats. So it's a great game. It's just lost its luster. It's lost its shininess. Still enjoy it when we play it. We still want to play it often. It's just lost its shininess. That's all. So, Wingspan number 11. All right, that's it for this one. In the final video, we'll be doing the top 10. So Liam's top 10 only board games of all time, because I haven't played a ton. All right, so see you in the next one. My name's Liam. Goodbye.